The rain was falling slowly that night, cold and quiet. A pregnant woman stood outside a small apartment building, holding a thin bag in her hands. Her name was Lena. Her clothes were old, her shoes were wet, and her eyes were full of fear. She was waiting for her husband. The door opened. He stepped out, clean clothes, dry shoes, phone in his hand. He did not look worried. He did not look back. "Please," Lena said softly. "I have nowhere to go." He stopped for 1 second. Just one. Then he spoke in a cold voice. "I'm done," he said. "This baby is your problem now." Lena touched her stomach. Her hands were shaking. "But I'm your wife," she whispered. He laughed. A short, cruel laugh. "You were never anything special," he said. "I can't carry your burden anymore." Then he walked away. The sound of his footsteps disappeared into the rain. Lena stood there, frozen. She did not cry. Not yet. She felt something worse than pain. She felt empty. Inside her bag were a few clothes and a hospital paper showing she was 7 months pregnant. She had no family to call. No friends left. Her phone had no missed calls. No messages. She slowly sat down on the stairs, hugging her knees. Rain touched her face, mixing with silent tears. She believed her life was over. What Lena did not know was this. At that very moment, far away in a private hospital, a powerful woman took her last breath. A woman the world called a legend. A woman worth trillions. A woman who was Lena's mother. But Lena had no idea. She never knew her mother was rich. She never knew her mother owned banks, companies, and land across the world. Her mother lived in silence to protect her. And now, that silence was about to break. This is Silent Family Tears, where hidden truths, broken families, and silent pain come together. If you love emotional stories with shocking twists, please subscribe. And if this story touches your heart, don't forget to comment below. Continue the story. Lena stood up slowly. Her body was weak, but she forced herself to walk. Each step hurt. Not just her feet, but her heart. She walked for hours until she reached a women's shelter. The building was old. The lights were dim, but it was warm. The woman at the desk looked at Lena and sighed. "Another one," she said softly. Lena was given a small bed and a thin blanket. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She spoke to her unborn child in a whisper. "I'm sorry," she said. "I failed you." A tear rolled down her face. At the same time, in a tall glass building, a group of serious men sat around a long table. Lawyers, accountants, security chiefs. A large photo was placed in the center. It was Lena's photo. One of the lawyers cleared his throat. "The owner of everything is gone," he said. Her final wish was clear. Another man asked, "Where is the daughter?" Silence filled the room. "No one knows," the lawyer replied. "She disappeared years ago, married under a different name, living poor." The room went quiet. "Find her," a deep voice said, "before the world finds out." The next morning, Lena woke up with pain in her back. She felt dizzy. She almost fainted. A nurse helped her sit. "You need rest," the nurse said. "And strength." Lena nodded, but her eyes were empty. She had no idea that private planes were already searching for her. No idea that billions now belonged to her name. No idea that her husband's company was quietly connected to her mother's empire. And no idea that the man who abandoned her would soon beg at her feet. Outside the shelter, a black luxury car slowly stopped. Its windows were dark. The driver looked around carefully. He asked a question to the guard. "Did a pregnant woman come here last night?" The guard nodded. "Yes," he said. "Why?" The driver looked at the building. His face was serious. "She's finally been found," he whispered. Inside, Lena felt a strange chill, like something big was coming. But she didn't know yet. She closed her eyes, holding her stomach, believing she was alone in the world. She was wrong. The poorest woman in the shelter was secretly the heir to $10 billion. And the truth was already at her door. Morning light entered the women's shelter through a small window. Lena slowly opened her eyes. Her body felt heavy. Her back hurt. Her baby moved inside her, reminding her she was not alone. She sat up slowly and took a deep breath. Around her, other women were waking up. Some were crying quietly. Some stared at the floor. Pain lived in every corner of that room. Lena held her stomach and whispered, "We will survive." She did not know how, but she had to believe. Outside the shelter, the black luxury car was still there. Two men stepped out. They wore simple clothes, but their eyes were sharp. They were not ordinary people. One of them spoke quietly. She is inside, he said. But she doesn't know, the other replied. We must be careful. They had one job, protect the secret. Across the city, Lena's husband sat in a modern apartment. The place was clean and bright. A woman stood near him, smiling. You did the right thing, she said. That poor woman would have ruined your future. He nodded, pretending to feel strong. She was always weak, he said. Always crying. Always needy. But something strange happened. His phone vibrated. A message from his company's main investor appeared. Meeting canceled. We will contact you later. He frowned. That never happened before. Back at the shelter, Lena stood in line for breakfast. The food was simple. Bread and tea. She thanked the volunteer with a small smile. As she turned around, she felt dizzy again. A hand quickly supported her. Careful, a calm male voice said. She looked up. A stranger stood in front of her. He looked kind, but serious. Are you okay? He asked. Yes, Lena replied softly. Thank you. He nodded and stepped back. She didn't know he was watching her carefully. Not as a stranger, but as someone responsible for her life. Later that day, Lena was called to the shelter office. She felt nervous. Did I do something wrong? She asked. The manager smiled gently. No, dear. Someone asked about you. Said they are from a charity. Lena's heart raced. She walked into the small office. The same man from earlier stood there. My name is Daniel, he said calmly. I help women in difficult situations. Lena lowered her eyes. I don't need money, she said quickly. Just a little time. Daniel looked at her with respect. We are not here to push you, he said. We only want to help. She nodded slowly. She did not know the truth. Daniel was not from a charity. He was from her mother's private security team. At the same time, in a large conference room overseas, a screen showed Lena's face. A senior lawyer spoke. She is living in a shelter, he said. Pregnant. Abandoned. The room went silent. One woman wiped her eyes. She never told her, someone whispered. Her mother wanted her normal, the lawyer said. Safe. Another man added. But now the world must not know yet. Too dangerous. They all agreed. The inheritance could destroy her if revealed too early. That evening, Lena walked outside the shelter to get fresh air. She saw the black car again. Her heart jumped. Fear filled her chest. She stepped back. Daniel noticed. It's okay, he said calmly. They are with me. Lena looked confused. With you? She asked. Yes, he replied. Security. She laughed weakly. For a shelter? She asked. Daniel smiled slightly. Sometimes, he said, people protect more than places. Across the city, Lena's husband faced another shock. His business account was frozen. He called his assistant. What is happening? He shouted. The assistant sounded scared. I don't know, she said. Our biggest partners are pulling back. His hands trembled. Something was wrong. Very wrong. That night, Lena could not sleep. She felt eyes on her. Not threatening. Watching. Protecting. She placed her hand on her stomach. Something is changing, she whispered. Inside the shelter office, Daniel made a call. We found her, he said. She is strong, but broken. A voice on the other side replied. Do not tell her yet, the voice said. Not until the time is right. Daniel looked at Lena through the glass window. Yes, he said quietly. We will wait. Lena believed she was being helped by a charity. But in reality, an entire empire was already protecting her from the shadows. The private hospital room was silent. Machines beeped softly. White lights reflected on cold walls. Outside the window, the city lights shined, unaware that history was ending inside this room. A powerful woman lay on the bed. Her name was Evelyn Carter. To the world, she was a legend. A hidden trillionaire. The owner of banks, tech companies, oil fields, and private islands. Governments listened when she spoke. But on that bed, she was only a mother. Her breathing was weak. Her eyes slowly closed, then opened again. Around her stood lawyers, doctors, and trusted guards. They all knew this moment would come. Evelyn turned her head slightly. Is my daughter safe? She whispered. The head lawyer stepped closer. Yes, he said softly. She is alive. Evelyn closed her eyes for a second. A small tear escaped. That's all I ever wanted, she whispered. Years ago, Evelyn made the hardest decision of her life. She sent her daughter away to live a normal life. No wealth, no power, no enemies. She knew her world was dangerous. Money attracted greed. Power attracted violence. So she chose silence. She chose pain. And she chose to watch her daughter from far away. Back at the women's shelter, Lena sat on her bed, holding a warm cup of tea. Her hand still shook sometimes. Not from cold, but from fear of the future. Daniel sat across from her, keeping distance. "You're strong," he said calmly. Lena smiled weakly. "I don't feel strong," she replied. "I feel lost." Daniel nodded. "Sometimes," he said, "strength comes before understanding." She looked at him, confused by his words. In the hospital, Evelyn slowly raised her hand. The lawyer leaned down. "My will," she whispered. "Is it ready?" "Yes," he replied. "Every detail. Just like you wanted." Evelyn took a deep breath. "All of it goes to her," she said. The lawyer froze. "All?" he asked carefully. Evelyn opened her eyes and looked at him firmly. "Yes," she said. "Every dollar. Every company. Every secret." The room went silent. Someone spoke carefully. "But ma'am, the world will react." Evelyn smiled weakly. "She will be ready," she said. "She survived without money. She will survive with it." A final beep echoed. The machines went quiet. Evelyn Carter was gone. And with her death, $10 billion quietly changed ownership. The next morning, Lena woke up feeling uneasy. Her baby kicked harder than usual. Her heart felt heavy. She walked to the shelter window and looked outside. The black car was gone, but two unfamiliar men stood across the street, pretending to talk. She turned away, nervous. Inside the shelter office, Daniel was on the phone. "She passed," he said quietly. A voice on the other side answered. "Then begin phase 2. Daniel took a deep breath. "Yes," he said, but slowly. Across the city, Lena's husband walked into his office building, angry and stressed. Employees avoided eye contact. The energy felt wrong. His assistant ran toward him. "There's a problem," she said. He rolled his eyes. "There's always a problem," he replied. She swallowed. "Our parent company changed ownership overnight." He stopped walking. "What?" he asked. She showed him the screen. The owner name was hidden, but the signature authority was removed. His company was no longer his. His face turned pale. That same day, Lena was called again to the shelter office. This time, more serious faces were waiting. Daniel stood up. "Lena," he said gently, "there are some questions about your past." Her heart raced. "My past?" she asked. "I don't have one." Daniel placed a folder on the table. Inside was an old photo. A baby. A woman holding her. Lena's breath stopped. "That's me," she whispered. "And that woman?" Daniel asked. Lena shook her head slowly. "I don't know," she said. "My mother died when I was young. Or, that's what I was told." Daniel looked at her carefully. "Sometimes," he said softly, "the truth is hidden to protect us." Tears filled Lena's eyes. "Who was she?" Lena asked. Daniel paused. He stood up. "I'm sorry," he said. "I can't tell you yet." That answer hurt more than any truth. That night, Lena cried silently into her pillow. She felt something was being kept from her. Something big. Something life-changing. She whispered into the dark. "Mom, who were you?" In a high-security vault overseas, the official inheritance documents were sealed. One name shined clearly. Lena Carter. Status, sole heir. Net worth, $10 billion. The mother Lena believed was poor and gone was actually one of the most powerful women on earth, and the world was only one step away from learning it. Lena sat quietly in the small shelter office. Her hands were folded in her lap, but they would not stop shaking. The air felt heavy, like something serious was about to happen. Daniel stood near the window. Two other men sat across the table. They wore clean suits, calm faces, and serious eyes. Lena looked at them, confused. "Why am I here again?" she asked softly. Daniel turned toward her. "Lena," he said gently, "we are not here to hurt you." That sentence made her heart beat faster. "Then why do I feel scared?" she asked. One of the men opened a thin folder and placed it on the table. "Because your life is about to change," he said. Lena slowly reached for the folder. Inside were documents she did not understand. Names, dates, stamps, and numbers filled the pages. She shook her head. "I think you made a mistake," she said. "I am just a poor woman. I live in a shelter." Daniel sat down in front of her. "That is how you live," he said calmly. "But that is not who you are." Lena looked at him, confused and hurt. "Then who am I?" she asked. Silence filled the room. Daniel took a deep breath. "Your real name is Lena Carter," he said. Her chest tightened. "That's not my name," she replied quickly. "My name is Lena Moore." Daniel nodded. "That was the name given to protect you," he said. "Your birth name was hidden." Lena stood up suddenly. "No," she said loudly. Stop. I don't want to hear this. Her head started to spin. She felt sick. Daniel raised his hands gently. Please sit, he said. For your baby. That word stopped her. Slowly, she sat down again. One of the men slid a photo toward her. It was the same photo she saw before. A baby. A woman holding her. This woman, the man said, is Evelyn Carter. Lena stared at the photo. My mother, she whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. Yes. Lena's eyes filled with tears. But she died, Lena said. She was poor. She lived quietly. She left me. Daniel's voice was calm but firm. She did not leave you, he said. She watched you every day. Lena looked up sharply. Liar, she said. If she cared, why did I suffer? Daniel lowered his eyes. To protect you, he said. He placed another document on the table. This is her will. Lena pushed it away. I don't want money, she cried. I want answers. Daniel nodded. You deserve both, he said. One of the men finally spoke. Your mother was one of the richest women in the world, he said. She lived in the shadows to protect you. Lena laughed through tears. That's not funny, she said. The man slid another paper forward. A number was written clearly. $10 billion. Lena froze. Her breathing stopped. She looked at the number again and again. That's not real, she whispered. Daniel looked into her eyes. It is real, he said. And it belongs to you. The room spun. Lena felt the walls closing in. She stood up, but her legs gave out. Daniel caught her just in time. Easy, he said. Breathe. She started crying uncontrollably. All this time she sobbed. I begged for help. I was alone. I was hungry. Daniel's voice softened. Your mother never stopped loving you, he said. She just chose the wrong way to protect you. Lena wiped her tears. If she loved me, she said quietly, why tell me now? Daniel looked serious. Because your husband abandoned you, he said. And powerful people are watching. That name hit her like a knife. My husband, she whispered. Yes, Daniel continued. His company is connected to your mother's empire. He benefited from it, without knowing who you really were. Lena's hands clenched. He threw me away, she said, while carrying his child. Daniel nodded. And now, he said, everything he has stands on your name. Outside the shelter, Lena's husband sat in his car, sweating. His phone kept ringing. Banks, lawyers, investors, all asking the same question. Who is Lena Carter? Back in the shelter office, Lena sat quietly again. Her crying had stopped. Her face was calm, too calm. What happens now? She asked. Daniel looked at her carefully. That depends on you, he said. You can stay silent, or you can rise. Lena placed her hand on her stomach. She felt her baby move. Her eyes hardened. I stayed silent my whole life, she said. It only brought me pain. She looked up. I don't want revenge, she said. But I won't be weak again. Daniel nodded with respect. That is exactly what your mother hoped, he said. Lena finally learned the truth. But instead of happiness, the truth awakened a strength no one expected. And her husband was about to face the consequences. The morning felt different. Lena stood near the window of a quiet, secure apartment. Sunlight touched her face, but her eyes were no longer afraid. Something inside her had changed. She was not the same woman who cried on shelter stairs. She took a slow breath and placed her hand on her stomach. We are safe now, she whispered to her unborn child. Behind her, Daniel waited patiently. He had been there since early morning, giving her space. He knew today was important. Are you ready? He asked calmly. Lena nodded. I don't know how, she said, but I'm ready. Across the city, her husband sat in a boardroom filled with tension. The walls were glass, but the mood was dark. His partners whispered among themselves. One of them spoke. Ownership has shifted, he said. We answer to someone new. Her husband laughed nervously. Who? He asked. Some investor? The man looked at his tablet. The name is sealed, he said, but the authority is absolute. Her husband felt sweat on his neck. For the first time, power slipped from his hands. Back with Lena, a team of professionals sat around a table. Lawyers, advisors, security. Lena sat at the head. She felt strange being there. She wore simple clothes. No jewelry. No makeup. One lawyer spoke gently. We will move slowly, he said. Your safety comes first. Lena nodded. I don't want the world to know yet, she said. Not until my baby is born. The room paused. Then Daniel smiled. That's wise, he said. Lena looked down at a document in front of her. A company list. One name stood out. Her husband's company. Her fingers trembled slightly. What happens to this? She asked. The lawyer answered carefully. It already belongs to you, he said. You just need to decide how to use it. Lena closed her eyes. Memories rushed back. Being pushed out of her home. Begging in the rain. Being called a burden. She opened her eyes. Do nothing, she said. The room looked confused. For now, she added. Let him think he is still in control. Daniel raised an eyebrow. A silent move, he said. Lena nodded. Yes, she replied. Just like my mother. That afternoon, Lena visited a private doctor. She was nervous but calm. The doctor smiled. The baby is healthy, she said. Lena's eyes filled with tears, happy ones this time. You're strong, the doctor added. Both of you. Lena smiled gently. Meanwhile, her husband stormed into his office. Find out who this is, he shouted at his assistant. Now, the assistant shook her head. We can't, she said. Every trail stops. He slammed his fist on the desk. This is impossible, he said. But fear lived in his eyes. That evening, Lena stood alone on the balcony. City lights stretched endlessly before her. Daniel joined her. You could destroy him with one word, he said. Lena shook her head. No, she said softly. Destruction is loud. She turned toward him. I want him to feel what I felt, she said. Slowly, Daniel nodded. That is real power, he said. Days passed. Lena learned. She learned how businesses worked. She learned how money moved. She learned how influence spoke without words. But most of all, she learned how to stay kind. One morning, she visited the same women's shelter she once slept in. This time, she did not arrive in a black car. She walked in quietly. She donated anonymously. Food, beds, medical care. No one knew. She wanted it that way. Across town, her husband received another blow. A major contract was canceled. Then another. He stared at his screen in disbelief. This can't be happening, he whispered. His partner looked at him coldly. Someone is pulling the strings, he said. And we can't stop it. That night, Lena sat with Daniel again. Do you ever regret it? She asked. Staying silent, Daniel thought for a moment. Silence, he said, is only dangerous when you are weak. Lena smiled. I'm not weak anymore, she said. Lena did not use her power to attack. She used it to wait. And that quiet waiting was already breaking her husband from the inside. The city moved fast that morning, but inside one office, time felt frozen. Lena's husband sat alone at his desk, staring at his computer screen. Red numbers flashed everywhere. Loss. Delay. Canceled. Denied. His hands shook. This is not real, he whispered. Just a few weeks ago, he felt untouchable. He had power, money, respect. Now, everything was slipping away. Across town, Lena sat calmly in a quiet meeting room. She wore simple clothes, but her presence filled the space. Her posture was steady. Her voice was calm. A senior advisor spoke. The pressure is working, he said. His partners are leaving. Lena nodded. Good, she replied. But keep my name hidden. Daniel looked at her carefully. You are sure? He asked. She placed her hand on her stomach. Yes, she said. I want him to fall without knowing who pushed him. Later that day, Lena's husband walked into a bank. The building was tall and cold. He felt small. The manager greeted him with a forced smile. We need to talk, the manager said. They sat down. The manager cleared his throat. Your credit line is under review, he said. What? The husband shouted. I've never missed a payment. The manager looked uncomfortable. Orders from above, he said. From who? The husband demanded. The manager shook his head. I can't say, he replied. The husband left the bank, his face pale. That same evening, Lena visited a legal office. Not as a client, as the final authority. The room stood when she entered. She raised her hand gently. Please sit, she said. The lawyers obeyed. We will proceed with the next step, she said calmly. One lawyer hesitated. This will expose him publicly, he said. Are you ready? Lena paused. She remembered the ring, the shelter stairs, the night she begged. Yes, she said, but not cruelly. The next morning, the news exploded. A major company was under investigation. Stock prices dropped. Shareholders panicked. Lena's husband watched the TV in shock. That's my company, he whispered. His phone rang nonstop. Where are you? What happened? Fix this. He couldn't. For the first time, the world judged him. At the same time, Lena sat in a quiet room, watching the same news. Her face showed no joy. Daniel stood beside her. You could end this now, he said. Lena shook her head. No, she replied. He must understand why. That afternoon, her husband received a court notice. His hands trembled as he opened it. A meeting. Mandatory attendance. Location, executive boardroom. Time, tomorrow morning. He swallowed hard. That night, Lena could not sleep. She walked slowly across the room. What if he hates me forever? She asked quietly. Daniel looked at her. He already did, he said gently. Lena closed her eyes. Then she nodded. You're right, she said. The next morning, the boardroom was full. Executives, lawyers, investors. Lena's husband entered late. His suit was wrinkled. His eyes were tired. He sat down. The head lawyer spoke. We are here to address the change in ownership. The husband laughed nervously. This is a joke, he said. The lawyer looked at the door. It is not. The door opened. Everyone turned. Lena stepped inside. Silence fell. The husband froze. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Lena, he whispered. She looked at him calmly. Good morning, she said. He stood up quickly. You, he said. This is about you? She nodded. Yes, she replied. It always was. The lawyer spoke clearly. Meet the owner. The room exploded in whispers. Her husband's legs weakened. He sat back down, stunned. You were poor, he stammered. Lena met his eyes. I was quiet, she said. The man who abandoned his pregnant wife finally saw the truth. But the power he laughed at now stood right in front of him. The boardroom was silent. No one spoke. No one moved. Lena stood at the front, calm and steady. Her husband sat frozen in his chair, his face pale, his mouth slightly open. The woman who once stood proudly beside him was nowhere to be seen. He looked at Lena like he was seeing a ghost. This is impossible, he whispered. Lena did not raise her voice. It is very possible, she said. You just never cared to know. The head lawyer cleared his throat. All voting power now belongs to Ms. Carter, he said. Effective immediately. The words hit the room like thunder. Her husband stood up slowly. Everyone, please leave us, he said, forcing a smile. No one moved. Lena spoke. They can stay, she said. I have nothing to hide. Her husband swallowed hard. He walked closer to her. I didn't know, he said quickly. If I knew who you were. Lena raised her hand. Stop, she said. Do not insult me with that sentence. Her words were calm, but sharp. You left me because you thought I was nothing, she continued. That truth will never change. Tears filled his eyes. I was under pressure, he said. Business stress. Fear. I made a mistake. Lena looked at him quietly. A mistake is spilling coffee, she said. Abandoning your pregnant wife is a choice. The room felt heavy. Later that day, they met again, alone. No lawyers. No guards. Just two people who once shared a home. He sat across from her, broken. I can fix this, he said. We can be a family again. Lena placed a hand on her stomach. This family, she said softly, survived without you. He reached across the table. Please, he begged. I will change. She pulled her hand back. You had your chance, she said. That night, Lena sat alone, thinking. Her heart felt tight. Not with anger, but with sadness. She remembered the good days. The laughter. The simple meals. She cried quietly. Daniel stood at the door. Do you want him punished? He asked gently. Lena wiped her tears. No, she said. I want him honest. The next morning, Lena's husband stood in front of the media. Cameras flashed. He looked tired. Smaller. I made terrible mistakes, he said. I hurt the woman who trusted me most. People watched closely. For years, he continued, I believed money made me important. I was wrong. His voice cracked. I lost everything because I abandoned my family. Lena watched from a screen. Her face was calm. Later that day, he met Lena one last time. I said the truth, he said quietly. Now what? Lena looked at him for a long moment. You will work, she said. Not as an owner. As an employee. His eyes widened. For you, he asked. For the company, she corrected. Under strict rules. He nodded slowly. I accept, he said. As he turned to leave, he stopped. The baby, he said softly. Will you let me see the child? Lena paused. That, she said, depends on your actions, not your words. He nodded, ashamed. That evening, Lena stood on the balcony again. City lights glowed below. She spoke quietly. I thought revenge would feel good, she said. Daniel stood beside her. And he asked. It doesn't, she replied. But peace does. Lena did not destroy him. She gave him a chance to face himself. And that was harder than any punishment. The delivery room was quiet. Soft lights filled the space. Lena lay on the bed, breathing slowly. Her hands were tight around the sheets, but her face was calm. She was not afraid anymore. After all the pain she survived, this moment felt different. This pain meant life. A few minutes later, a small cry filled the room. The nurse smiled. "It's a girl," she said gently. Lena's eyes filled with tears. A nurse placed the baby on her chest. The tiny child moved softly, warm and real. Lena whispered, "You are safe now." For the first time in her life, she felt complete. Outside the room, Daniel stood quietly. He smiled to himself. The journey was almost over. Weeks passed. News spread slowly, carefully, not loudly, not dramatically. People learned that Lena Carter had taken full control of a massive empire. But what shocked them more was her behavior. She did not show luxury. She did not seek attention. She did not speak much. She worked in silence. Just like her mother, Lena moved into a peaceful home. Simple, secure, warm. She spent her mornings with her daughter, feeding her, holding her, talking to her softly. "This world is loud," Lena whispered one morning. "But you don't need to be." Her daughter slept peacefully. At the company, Lena's ex-husband arrived every day on time. No special treatment. No shortcuts. He worked quietly. People respected him less now, but trusted him more. One day, he asked Daniel quietly, "Is she happy?" Daniel answered honestly. "She is at peace," he said. "That matters more." Months later, Lena visited the women's shelter again. This time, she walked in openly. The women stared at her, confused. She stood at the center and spoke calmly. "I was once here," she said. "Just like you." Eyes widened. "I had nothing," she continued. "But I had strength I didn't know about." She announced a new program. Homes, medical care, education, protection. No cameras, no press, just help. The women cried. That night, Lena stood alone in her mother's old study. It was the first time she entered it. She touched the desk gently. "I understand now," she whispered. She opened a locked drawer. Inside was a handwritten letter. Her heart stopped. It was from her mother. The letter: "My dear Lena, if you are reading this, it means you survived. I hid the truth not because I didn't trust you, but because I trusted you too much. I wanted you to grow strong without money. You did. Now use this power differently. Be quiet. Be kind. Be brave. I love you, Mom." Lena sat down slowly and cried. Not from pain, from understanding. The final twist came weeks later. Lena invited her ex-husband for a short meeting. He stood nervously. "I'm not here to ask for anything," he said quickly. Lena nodded. "I know," she replied. She handed him a document. "What is this?" he asked. "A trust," she said. "For our daughter." His eyes widened. "I'm not giving you control," she continued. "I'm giving you responsibility." Tears fell from his eyes. "I don't deserve this," he said. Lena looked at him calmly. "No," she replied. "But she does." That evening, Lena stood by the window, holding her daughter. City lights shined far away. She spoke softly. "Silence saved us," she said. She kissed her baby's forehead. The woman everyone thought was weak never wanted revenge. She wanted peace. And the man who left her poor was now forever tied to the life he almost destroyed.